Yeah, I mean, that's when we look at the data around female consumers and we look at why women haven't engaged as much as men have with the concept of going electric, aren't as aware of the whole thing as men are, a lot of that comes down to the language and the jargon used. A lot of it also comes down to where that information is spread, where it's published. I don't see many OEMs, many charging network providers, many commentators, reaching out to speak to women in the verticals where they are. So, well-being, travel, food and drink, who is proactive going out with messaging? So that's one thing. And the second thing, as you point out, to come back to what you were saying, is the jargon. I think I'm bitterly disappointed with the industry insofar as we had an opportunity, a really golden opportunity with the advent of electric to shake up everything for the first time in over a century, since we made the transition from horse and cart to fossil fuels. And yet we've fallen into exactly the same traps. We've set about explaining this new technology and this new lifestyle and this new way of driving to consumers with exactly the same jargon that no one understands. So, who understands kilowatts? Who understands the difference between kilowatts and kilowatt hours? I mean, I live and breathe this stuff. This is what I do on a daily basis. And I have to keep reminding myself. In fact, I mucked up again in a LinkedIn post the other day. I put something about it costing 66 pence per kilowatt hour. And someone said, I think you might mean kilowatts. You go, oh God, yes, sorry.
That one was the other way around.
The other way. No, you see? Exactly that. I've just proved my own point with my own stupidity. Do you see what I mean? I'm constantly getting confused. I have to constantly remind myself, and I live and breathe this stuff. What hope does the consumer have if I'm still mucking it up? So that's BEV, battery electric vehicle. Really? Can we not just say electric? PHEV, plug-in hybrid. Hybrid. I don't think consumers think anything's a hybrid unless it's got a plug at the end of it. So maybe we can just ditch hybrid. And, if you've got no decent electric range, is it really what consumers consider to be a hybrid? All this stuff. It's the same as we were doing with litres of boot space and BHP and pound-foot of torque. This stuff has never resonated with most consumers. So, yes, we do need to find better signage. We do need to find simpler. It's not dumbing down. In fact, it's a reverse, because it takes a great deal of skill to understand kilowatts and kilowatt hours and then translate it into language that means something to people. Yeah. So we need absolutely all that stuff transformed, the language and the jargon, and throughout the industry. So from the product explanations through the retail experience, via the media and the marcons and the advertising, and actually when you arrive at a charging point and it's got the little thing on it saying CCS or type 2 or for the charging points, or it's got 120 kilowatts. Does that mean I can put 50 miles in half an hour or less? I don't know. And I was extraordinarily surprised. So you've really got me on one now. I'm going.
That's great.
I was extraordinarily surprised that, of course, you build your own little community of electric vehicle users, don't you? Because you all turn up at the charging point. You've got nothing else to do other than sit there and chat. And also you're begging each other to get off the charging point. So you enter into this kind of bartering process where, I was wandering up to this taxi driver and said, knocked on his window, excuse me, I'm so sorry to bother you. How much longer are you going? Because I can see you're at 39%. Are you going to 100%? Are you going to 80%? And I'm thinking, please, God, be going to 80%. If you're here to 100%, we're all in all sorts of trouble because the charging slows down so much. 80%. He said, well, I'm going to 80%. So I'm sitting there looking all, I need to. And so he got to 70% and went, do you know what? I've got enough. I'll go. You can go. And this kind of stuff goes on the whole time. But you're thinking, really, are we leaving it to the owners to try and persuade each other to get off the charging point? It's dreadful. But I do think there should be a sign. I was speaking to two other electric drivers there, and they owned their own electric cars, and they had no idea that the charging of their electric cars slowed down past 80%. So they were sitting there waiting to go to 100%. So we need signage up. We need signage up as well, saying, did you know, by the way, you cannot concurrently draw power from both of these sockets on this charger. Because the software isn't there. And actually, if you go to draw power off the second one, you'll stop the charging on the first one. And if that person's wandered off for lunch, they'll be in all sorts of trouble when they come back. There's so much real life, just simplified usage for consumers that I do feel everyone involved could be cracking on with.